Alrighty, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and touch on whether or not it is too late to buy shares of GameStop and participate in this massive rally. Now, in order to answer that question, we have to cover a couple of underlying factors. Now, recently, GameStop from the previous trading session to where we're at now, at this current time, is up a little over 28%, which is a huge move up. But if we look at the opening of the day, it was up over 74%. So a huge move, very volatile. Now, what has caused GameStop to move upwards in such a short period of time? Now, we see it is kind of pushing up. We'll go ahead and talk about what is possible to take place and what perhaps may be something that you may be interested in doing. But before we have to touch on that, we have to cover why. So for those that are not in the know, we have someone by the name of Roaring Kitty, which that's just his pseudonym. His government name is Keith Gill, who is a notable figure in the GameStop community. And I call it a community because it is a community within itself. It's became its own niche within the market. And this was a figure who covered GameStop during the whole GameStop short squeeze debacle during the pandemic and built a whole name for himself. However, he recently went ghost for the last few years until recently. He came out of nowhere. Now, last night, he posted this on Reddit, which he has not updated on Reddit within the last 3 years, sharing how he has a $65 million worth position of GameStop in calls with a $21 strike price expiring in 19 days. He also revealed that he has $115 million worth of shares, making his total position close to $200 million in GameStop. So a huge position. Now, he also posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, this image right over here, which is led to your own interpretation. I'm going to go ahead and try to decipher how I interpret this. And this is a Uno card, a reverse Uno card. So for anyone that's not familiar, it's a popular card game. And this, I interpreted as him kind of doing a reverse Uno card to the fund managers or the, institutional investors, the hedge funds that he constantly attacks. He's been, sharing over the last few years how hedge funds, they screw over companies by shorting them and etc. and doing, naked shorts. And I'm not going to go ahead and delve into that. For those that are already in the know, they know exactly what I'm talking about. For those that are unaware, just take it like this. This individual has mentioned that these hedge funds, they're manipulating the market, right? That's all you have to know. And so this image is kind of him, in my opinion, stating that it's a reverse. He's going to go ahead and do the same thing because of the position size, $200 million, and we see GameStop is actually pushing up a bit. $200 million, that's kind of like institutional money at that point. So it's kind of like two can play at this game, reverse Uno, I'm the institutional investor. And so that is, and again, that's just my interpretation. Maybe you may have a different interpretation you want to share in the comment section down below. But the question in this video is whether or not it's too late to participate in this rally. Now, if you're talking about the move from the prior trading session to now, of course, it's too late. It's gone, right? But of course, everyone wants to know, well, is GameStop going to be going higher? And of course, we'll touch on that. But I want everyone to know that you would have been able to kind of foresee this move taking place without seeing Roaring Kitty's tweet or post on X. I still say tweet. It's actually called post on x.com, or his post on Reddit, by simply looking into the options flow. Now, this may seem confusing, but I'll go ahead and kind of touch on it in a bit. But basically, we saw with options flow that there was a huge whale back a couple of weeks ago that purchased a large amount of calls for GameStop. Now, I have a whole separate tutorial on my channel that I'll link in the comment section down below. I'll also link it in the description and at the end of this video for anyone interested on how you're able to see what large moves are taking place for a stock by looking at the options flow. People talk about dark pools with stocks, but sometimes the issue with shares is that shares can be hidden through blocks versus options. When you purchase options, there's no way of hiding it, right? You can't hide your cards. And so a couple of weeks ago, everyone on Twitter or everyone on X was just acknowledging that, hey, there was a large whale that was buying large shares at GameStop. No one was aware that it was Roaring Kitty or, Keith Gill, but there was speculation that, hey, someone is buying a large amount of calls, and that could have been an indicator that a rally was going to take place. The idea was that this was most likely another institutional, fund pretty much trying to hurt the people that are the funds that were shorting GameStop. So everyone thought it was just one hedge fund trying to screw over another, and so it was just revealed that it was actually Keith Gill, Roaring Kitty, and that's obviously what caused the stock to push upwards. Now, one thing that we have to understand is, of course, GameStop, very volatile stock. This is not trading based off its fundamentals, and I have to share that because some individuals are unaware of why this is pushing up, right? It's not because of how GameStop is doing at all. This is pure speculation, which is why it's very volatile, and so I want everyone to acknowledge the risk. And to answer the question if it's too late, so this move, of course, is too late, but as of now, we don't have proof or any evidence that Roaring Kitty or Keith Gill has liquidated his position. So there's a possibility that he's still in this position, and that could lead many to speculate that there is a possibility of GameStop heading even higher. Now, can I guarantee that? Of course not. I cannot guarantee. No one can guarantee that, right? If anyone does, you should run away from them immediately, right? Unless they have insider information. Unless you're talking to Keith Gill and he has another master plan on how he's going to go ahead and try to pump GameStop. Now, this isn't the first time he's recently tried to pump GameStop or actually successfully have. Recently, just a couple of weeks ago, he posted on X for the first time in 3 years, and that led to a massive move on GameStop. But of course, it reverted back to these low levels on around $17, and it wasn't until he revealed that he was the big whale that was buying the calls for GameStop, and so that's what made it rally more. Now again, it's up to you to decide. Do you guys believe it's going to push up higher or not? We don't know. We don't have any evidence of him liquidating his position, but even if he didn't liquidate his position just yet, you can't assume that that's because he believes GameStop is going to push upwards. At the end of the day, he's still up a significant amount on his position with GameStop. It's probably not as high as it was during the beginning of the trading session where GameStop was up 75%, but nonetheless, he's still up a hefty amount. I mean, at one point, it was estimated that he was up $500 million with this position on GameStop. So a huge move. Now, I did see this interesting post on X. Someone said, I'm trying to figure out how Roaring Kitty, aka Keith Hill, ended up with $180 million plus of GameStop, and here's my best guess. Now, he shares how in late April or early May, he may have sold most of his GameStop equity and loaded up on calls. Then he came back to social media and pumped up the stock, which went up 30% in 3 days, then dropped. Now, he's referring to when he first posted on X, which caused this move right over here. So he's speculating that Roaring Kitty may have, pumped to get his initial capital up just a couple of weeks ago. He probably then says he probably sold all his calls near the top and started buying back GameStop equity shares at a cost basis of around $20. Then he decided to play this game again, and so over the past couple of weeks, he's been selling GameStop equity and loading up on a June 21st $20 strike calls. And then he also mentions with GameStop up, 83% on pre-markets, he's up $95 million on the equity and probably up $500 million on the calls. So his account will probably be worth close to $1 billion at the open. Now this was from a few hours ago, so that is true. His account was most likely closer to this level. Probably not anymore. If we, obviously parse through it to a closer time frame. But one thing that was interesting is in the comments, someone also shared how there was a whale who was purchasing back in April a large amount. So that was most likely him as well before he pumped the stock up, by posting on X. Now, again, everything is speculation at this point. There's no concrete evidence aside from him just actually sharing that he has a $200 million plus position. How he got that is speculation, but one could only assume that he loaded up on calls if there's evidence of someone buying a lot of calls, and then we see he kind of pumped the stock up, and then we see him again posting with a large amount of or posting a large amount of calls, and then we saw in the options flow a big whale purchasing. So one could assume that it was him, right? If you connect the dots. And that's why, on this channel, I share about looking into alternative data, because far too many retail investors and traders, they rely on technical analysis only, which technical analysis isn't a bad data point, but it's just one data point, and it's not the best one in all honesty, right? If you use technical analysis in silo, you may be at a disadvantage, especially for those that have more resources. That's why I like to use a confluence of several data points, such as fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and of course macroeconomic data points, such as what's going on in the economy. Which, for example, for those who are unaware, we may have on June 5th, which is just a couple of days from now, the Central Bank of Canada update their monetary policy, and there's a high potential that they may end up cutting rates, which may boost the market, and that may be favorable for GameStop. So maybe he's timing this along with that. But also, interestingly enough, we also have the Central Bank of Japan. I'm sorry, not Japan. I said that wrong. The European Central Bank. Let me correct myself. The ECB also having an update on monetary policy on the 6th. So just a couple of days ago now, or a couple of days later. Now, there's a large speculation that being that Canada is likely to cut, that's going to influence Europe to cut rates, which may influence our central bank in America, being pretty much the Federal Reserve, cutting as well pretty soon, which can bolster stocks upwards, because of course once we have rate cuts, that means that capital or borrowing capital is less expensive, and that's very good for companies, right? That's all you have to know. And so it may be a master plan that he decided to post his position at this current period of time. Again, this is all speculation, but that's why I like to use a confluence of data points, right? So we have some macroeconomic events taking place. We had, alternative data, which again is the options flow showing that he did purchase, or most likely it was him that at that time back in early May or late May purchased all those calls. But again, at the end of the day, it's up to your interpretation whether or not you want to go ahead and buy shares. I'm personally not trading GameStop. I don't have GameStop in my long-term portfolio either. So I'm kind of just someone that's sitting on the sidelines, and that's okay, right? You don't have to trade every single move thinking it's the only opportunity. Something I want everyone to be aware of is that the market has opportunities every single day. Every single day, there's opportunities in the market, and there's life-changing money. For example, earlier in this year, I talked about NVIDIA being something that was going to break out from this area over here where there was a resistance, and I talked about that we were likely to see good earnings from NVIDIA, and I shared it within the Push and Profit private group, and we ended up seeing NVIDIA do 129% year to date at its peak. So there's always life-changing money events taking place. You don't have to pounce at everything, which is why I'm not even... I'm just, I'm not even taking any participation within this GameStop, rally over here. But you guys let me know in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on GameStop? Do you believe GameStop's going to push higher? Do you believe this is something that's going to fall down? At the end of the day, no one knows. No one has a crystal ball unless you have some insider information or you're talking to Keith Gill and Roaring Kitty himself, and he has something up his sleeve to go ahead and prop this up higher. But again, you guys let me know in the comment section down below. But before you guys go, make sure to check out this video so you guys understand how to interpret options flow and be able to identify when whales are making a huge move in the market. I'll see you guys on that next video. Take care.